Hey everybody, it's Mr. Mathblog here. This lesson we're going to compare fractions that have the same numerator. In the last lesson we compared fractions that had the same denominator, so what we ended up doing was looking at the numerators, the top number. Here we're comparing fractions that have the same numerator. So we're going to be focusing on the denominators. So if they have the same number on top, then we look at the numbers on the bottom. Okay, here's our essential question. What are some ways to compare fractions that have the same numerator? Don't forget all your lessons are at mrmathblog.com. Okay, David is at Alonzo's Pizza Depot. He can sit at a table with 5 of his friends or at a table with 7 of his friends. The same size pizza is shared equally among the people at each table. Which table should David sit to get most of the pizza? Okay, so including David, how many friends will be sharing the pizza at each table? All right, well, since it's David with 5 friends, then 5 plus 1 is going to be 6 at one table. And David with 7 friends would be David plus 1, which would be 8 at each table. So what are we going to compare? Well, we're going to be comparing which table will have the bigger slices of pizza. Okay, so if they're going to be shared equally at each table, then we're going to cut them up into 6th size or 8th size. So there will be 6 friends sharing pizza, pizza A we'll call it, or 8 friends sharing pizza B. So David will get either 1/6 of a slice or 1/8 of a slice. Can you see that? So if he sits here, there's David with 5 of his friends, or David with 8 of his friends over here, or 7 of his friends, sorry. So we're going to shade 1/6 of a pizza and 1/8 of a pizza. So I think I did that in red and blue right there. There we go. So there's 1/6 and 1/8. Well, I can clearly see which pizza I want to eat if I'm hungry. So which pizza is larger? Well, definitely this blue piece right here is going to be larger than this guy right here. So 1/6 is greater than 1/8 right there, okay? So let's answer the question. David should sit at the table with the one with 5 of his friends so he can get a bigger slice of the pizza. All right, so which pizza has more pieces? Well, pizza B has more pieces. All right, so the more pieces a whole is divided into, then if I cut it up into more pieces, are they going to be smaller or larger pieces? Well, they're going to be smaller pieces right there, okay? All right, and then which pizza has fewer pieces? Well, pizza A has fewer pizzas. So the fewer the pieces of a whole is divided into, then the larger the pieces are going to be. So if we cut it up into less pieces, they're going to be bigger. Okay, if you cut it up into more pieces, they're going to be smaller. All right, so suppose David wants 2 pieces of one of the either pizza. So either 2 pieces of pizza A or 2 pieces of pizza B. Is 2 of these pieces going to be larger than 2 of these pieces, or 2 of these pieces going to be larger than 2 of these pieces? Which has a greater amount? And explain how you know. Well, there's a few ways to do this. Well, since pizza A has the bigger slice, then 2 of the slices from pizza A will be larger than 2 of the slices from pizza B. So that means 2 of these 6 right here are going to be larger than 2 of these 8s right here. Okay, so here's 2 8s right here, and then 2 6 would be quite a bit bigger right here. You get bigger slices right there. All right, so here we're going to use fraction strips. So here Julie has 2/8 of her homework completed, and John has 2/3 of his homework completed. Now look, the numerators are the same, just like in the last one it was 1. Here the numerators are 2. So who has more of their homework completed? So what we're going to do is compare 2/8 and 2/3. All right. Now remember, the denominators, how many slices we're cutting it up into equal pieces. And so remember that last piece that we had right here. Uh, if the denominator was larger, then we got smaller pieces right here. So when the denominator is smaller, you get larger pieces. So let's just use that logic right here. When the denominator is larger, it ends up being smaller pieces. And when the denominator is smaller, it ends up being bigger pieces. But let's do this with fraction strips just to really hone this assignment in right here. So we're going to place a check mark to the fraction strip that shows more parts in the whole. Okay, so here's the whole. This is whole 1 right here. Here it is where it's divided up into 8 equal pieces, and here it is where it's divided up into 3 equal pieces. So that way we can compare 2/8 versus 2/3. All right, so let's put a check mark next to the one that has the 1/8 because it has more parts of the whole right there. That's what it's asking. Okay, so shade 2/8 and then shade 2/3. All right, well here's 2/8 right there. Okay, see that? And then here's 2/3 right there. Clearly, you guys, 2/3 is larger than 2/8. So when we compare the shaded parts, 2/8 would be less than 2/3 right there. Because look, here's 2/3 right there. It's a lot. It's even more than 5/8 right there. Here's 5/8 right there. Okay. All right, so who has completed more homework? Well, who had the 2/3? John had the 2/3, so good on John. John has more of his homework, or maybe his is just easier or something. Who knows? So, all right, so let's use some reasoning for it. So before taking a hike, Terry and Colin each ate part of the same size granola bar. Terry ate 3/4 of her bar. Colin ate 3/6 of his bar. Who ate more of their bar? Okay. All right. Remember, the bigger the denominator means the smaller the slices there are on that. So on here. So in the last lesson, if the denominators were the same, then the bigger the numerator made it bigger. But here, if the denominators or if the numerator is the same, the bigger the denominator makes them smaller. All right, so we're going to compare 3/4 and 3/6. So since the numerators are the same, look at the denominators and compare the size of the pieces right there. Okay, remember, well, okay, right here it says the more pieces of a whole is divided into, then the blank the pieces are. So are they smaller or bigger? So if we cut up the pizza into more pieces, was it smaller or bigger? Okay, we did this a while ago, and I just copied and pasted it right here. So the more pieces the whole is divided into, the smaller the pieces. Remember that pizza, if we divided it up into 8 equal pieces, they were smaller than if we divided it up into 6 equal pieces. So let's go ahead and answer these questions right here. So I just moved it up also. So the more the pieces a whole is divided into, then the smaller the pieces are, and the fewer the pieces the whole is divided into, then the larger the pieces are. So these both have the same numerator right here, so we just look at the denominators, and the one that has the bigger denominator makes it smaller, you guys. So 1/4 is larger than 1/6 because there are fewer pieces right there. All right, so we're going to say 3/4 is going to be larger than 3/6 right there. Okay, so who ate more of the granola bar? Terry ate more of that granola bar right there. Okay, just be careful, you guys. When comparing fractions that have the same numerator, be sure the symbol shows that the fraction with the fewer pieces in the whole is the greater of the fractions. Okay, you guys, I hope that lesson makes sense. Take care.